Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Gypsy Nurse Live. I'm your host, Rachel Altum. I am the online community manager for the Gypsy Nurse. For those who are new here to the Gypsy Nurse is the largest and most active online community for travel healthcare workers. We are proud to be a one-stop shop resource for travel nurses, whether you're new to travel nursing, which this is the point of this event today, is to really talk to all these new travel nurses that haven't taken the leap yet or going to. If you've been doing it a while or if you're getting ready to take the leap like some of you today, we have tons and tons of articles and videos to help you get started. So be sure to check those out. We have a job board to help you find your new adventure. There's tons of agencies on there that have tons of opportunities. So be sure if you're going to be picky about your location or your specialty, you get on there, you filter it out, you search, you're going to find your favorite next job. We also have housing so that you can find somewhere to stay. A lot of times your agency will help you find housing, but if you want to look for your own, we also have discounts on a few different places and so much more. We do these lives once or twice a month with industry experts and other travelers to give our community a chance to ask their travel healthcare questions in real time. So that means anytime that you have any questions during this session, just ask and it will come into our comment section. And a lot of times, like if it's relevant and on topic, we will, answer your questions. If not, we'll address them later. So don't be sad if your questions don't all get answered. But today, the questions are going to be around starting travel nursing. So be sure to ask those questions. But yeah, we do this once or twice a month. And we really want you to be able to get some real-time answers. But if not, if you're watching this later, just message us and we'll direct the question to whoever you need to go to. You can listen to this one and others on demand on the gypsynurse.com. Like I was saying, there's tons. We've been doing them for a couple of years now, so we have a lot of great content. Also, while you're on the gypsynurse.com, be sure to sign up as a member because we are giving away 4 $250 Visa gift cards at the end of this month. So we're doing New Year, New You. You need some money to get that New Year, New You going. So be sure to sign up. The drawing will be at the end of the month. So we'll have 4 different winners. Not only signing up will enter you to win, but you'll also get on the list to receive updates about events, about the infamous TravCon. I know some of you have probably heard about this, which if you don't already know, it's the largest travel healthcare in-person conference out there. And yes, I'm including you, Allied. I know some of you wonder if you can go, and yes, definitely, please come. We want you there. TravCon is full of education, fun, and an epic after party. It's so much fun. And you don't have to be a travel healthcare worker to attend. You need to save the date. Put this in your calendar, request it off whenever you start getting your schedule in. But it's September 17th through the 20th, 2023 at the Paris and Las Vegas, Nevada. I heard tickets will be going on very soon. And if you're part of the Gypsy Nurse community, there might be a little bit of a discount. So be sure to sign up so that way you can stay up to date. Me and Brandy will be talking a little bit more about TravCon towards the end of this session. And so today we will be having Brandy, our expert in nurse newbies. Let me bring her on. I'm so excited. Hi, Brandy. Thank
Hey,
you.
hi. Thanks so
Hi.
much for having me today. This is awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. And so for those of you who don't know, Brandy is a travel nurse. She's a travel nurse mentor. So her job in life is to be a travel nurse and help other travel nurses. And I can't think of a better person to, help out with other
No.
nurses. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. I love it. I really feel like I have the best job ever. So I get to live the best of both worlds. Kind of as Rachel mentioned, I have been a nurse for over 20 years. This month, I'm like, that's just crazy to me.
Yay.
20 whole years. Time flies when we're having fun, but I've done primarily NICU, PICU. I did critical care float pool at an Austin Children's Hospital. And then I took the leap into travel nursing, and been traveling for about 5 years total, and I've just had the best experiences ever. I am forever thankful for travel nursing and all of the wonderful things that it has allowed me to do. Briefly, kind of during the pandemic, the industry took a little bit of a turn, and I went to be a flight nurse for about a year and a half and took a little bit of a break from traveling. I hung up those traveling shoes for a minute, but I missed it every second. So I'm back into traveling. I'm into education and mentoring travel nurses, specifically newbie travelers, aspiring travelers. I'm here to help you guys every step of the way. I know how hard it is, and I didn't have anybody to help me, when I first started, and wish I had to learn everything the hard way. And so I hope to be able to help save you guys from some of that heartache. And that's why we have these events like this, so we can be a resource for you and help answer the questions and stuff that you have to set you up for success. And we got a lot of really great questions today. So we're excited to start going over those with you.
Definitely. Where are you at right now? I haven't talked to you since TravCon. Well, I
Uh,
have talked to you a little bit, but we haven't gone live in a while. So where are you at currently?
So I wanted to be back home with my family for the holidays. I had some personal things going on, needed to be back home in Texas. So I'm actually doing a local travel assignment at my home children's hospital here in Fort Worth. They are who grew me. I worked for them for about 15 years. And so I'm just doing a seasonal contract. They hire their own internal travelers. I've tried to talk them into using outsourced traveling, and it's definitely on their radar, but they've had success just having their own internal kind of program. So that's what I'm doing right now. I already am trying to see what the next plan is. This is going to be through March, and I'm really,
Nice.
really looking for the next thing right now, what the next best thing is for the summer and the spring. I'm really excited.
Aw, that's awesome. Well, anybody out there, if you're in Texas, put something in the comments, say hey.
Yes, we can hang out, we can meet up, we can talk about travel nursing, just anything. Just go have a good night out.
Definitely. And I know Brandy's a good time.
Thank you.
We've
I
had
tried to.
a few travels together, so I can confirm that she is a very good time and she's sweet and very, very fun. So we
Likewise.
and we do have one question that popped through already. Thank you, Missy. What is the main reason you got into travel nursing originally?
Originally, I always, always, always wanted to be a travel nurse. I knew that very early on in my career. Um,
Mm,
I was a single mom. I was a teen mom and now single mom. So I did things a little bit backwards, and it worked for me. You have to do what works for you. And there's no right or wrong way, not a wrong time. You have to do what's best for you and whatever kind of stage of life that you're in. But basically, I always wanted to travel. Like, it was my dream, but I had my
aw,
son. And so I could not do anything until he was grown. And I know there's so many people that have successfully traveled with the family, but for me,
mhm.
being a single mom, it was just best for me to be close to my resources and my parents. And so I had to wait a minute until I got him graduated. Literally, the day that I took him off to Texas A&M, I set out on my first travel assignment in Colorado
Oh,
Springs. It was so great. It was the best decision I could have made for myself. It gave me something to look forward to because my little mama heart was hurting. I was so excited for him, but
aw,
raising him and his life, everything about him, that's revolved around my life and his
aw.
life, and so it was really good. So I had to wait 18 years almost before I started doing it. I became a nurse when he was about 2 years old, and
Mhm.
so I was well into being a nurse at the Children's Hospital 15 years before I was able to step out and travel for
Wow.
personal reasons. So it
Wow.
all works out though. What's meant to be will be. I promise that.
Definitely. Yeah. So some of you that are watching that are still staff nurses and you're like, I don't know when I can do it. Example right here, 15 years in the making, now
Yeah.
20 years. But yeah, so that's perfect. So anytime, you want to start, you can start. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but it's good to have these resources and people that you can rely on. We were talking before and we were saying it's so important to have a community and to really find people that you can rely on, ask questions, because it's scary to do this alone. And you are brave and you are like powerful and you can do whatever you want, but it is really nice to have someone that is in your court and knows what to do. Like Brandy,
Totally
she's can
agree.
just call Brandy up and be like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and sometimes
Do
I
that.
don't even know the answer. It's nice to just be able to talk to other like-minded
Yeah.
professional people in the industry and be like, "Hey, this is going on. Like, what do you think I should do? I'm torn." Or,
Yeah.
not even just about travel nursing. Like, maybe you're in a
Hmm.
different time and you're like trying to make the best move. Um, not travel related within your career. And I'm happy to help kind of talk about those things with you too, because I feel like I've kind of done it all over the last 20 years. So
Yeah,
we all
definitely.
have to stick together. We're in this together.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, definitely. Well, we get tons and tons of questions. If you're not familiar with the Gypsy Nurse, we do have a Facebook group called the Travel Nurse Network group. We get tons and tons of questions every day, all the time about new travel nurses. So, Brandy and I are going to go through some of the questions that we've seen come through, just from what she's seen and what I've seen, and, kind of give like Brandy's input and my input and see you know what we think.
I
So we
love
have
that.
this one, and it says, "Hey, I'm looking to start travel nurse in October or November. I think I'm going to go with a certain agency. Anyone use them? I'm scared to go through a bad agency and get the raw end of the deal. Any advice or favorite travel agency?" So I'm going to put in my little plug for the Gypsy Nurse.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, the way we have our agency survey each year. And so we ask all the travel nurses in our community, like, hey, can you let us know how you feel about this agency? It's put through like a separate agency to like fulfill the survey. So we don't have anything to do with it. We hire somebody else to conduct it. And then we have all of the top agencies that our network group loves. So definitely when you're, trying to figure out if there's a bad agency, go check out that list and know that they're not bad.
Agreed. That list and that survey has been a lifesaver. I've sent so many nurses to go look at that too. I think it just really shows in black and white,
Mhm.
that some of the best agencies out there for sure. And I think everyone you talk to, they may have a different opinion about this. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so you may have a great recruiter with a bad company and a bad company and have a great recruiter. So, this is something early on when you're thinking about traveling. Like, this is something to take very, very seriously because your
Yeah.
company and your recruiter can completely make or break your entire experience. And you want to have a good experience. So, I think this is something that you really need to take the time and use your resources, ask other travelers who they have been using. Make
Yeah.
sure it's somebody that you like know and trust, though, too, because a lot of them will just shout out their company and recruiter because they could get a referral bonus if
Yeah.
you go with their recruiter. And so it's a little bit biased. So keep that in mind. But you'll notice a pattern. If the same people are saying the same company, the same recruiter, that's a really good sign to you that you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
On travelnurse101.com, I've spent a lot of time and just poured my entire heart into that. And I have some blog posts there. One of them is about how to pick an agency, what to look for in an agency, what benefits to look for. And it's really, really good. I highly encourage you to go there. It lists it out because there's so many important things other than just your pay. Like we're all in
Yeah.
this obviously to get
Mhm.
a paycheck. But there's so many other benefits that are important that go into that compensation package that you need to be aware of and that may really pertain to you. And not all agencies offer the same benefits.
Oh, yeah.
So really go there and look and spend some time there. And day one, health insurance is super important
Oh, yeah.
for a lot of us. And some companies don't offer that. They make you wait an extended period of time before you are covered. And I don't know about you, but I have to have health insurance for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For
And
sure.
then some of them, like, you're halfway through your assignment and you might not even have them. You might be, like, agency hopping or, wanting to get to a different assignment with a different agency, and you can't get insurance till halfway through your assignment, so
Yeah, and that could be really stressful on you. It can also like help you feel like you're not making the best decision for yourself.
yeah.
Several companies, there's not a lot of them, but there are a few of them that will even cover you in between assignments up to 30 days. And I think that is just like so wonderful because that's one of the great benefits about travel nursing is taking time off in between.
Yeah.
And so you know that you're covered medically if you wanna take some time off. And then I also take that a step further, and I have an entire blog post about what makes a recruiter good, what qualities to look for. The bottom line is, though, too, you have to find somebody that you have a conversation with, that you feel like you can communicate well effectively. They have
Mhm.
your back, you have an open line of communication at all times. You feel like they're listening, they have your best interest at heart. If you're not getting those vibes from that recruiter, pick a new one because there's many others that will take great care of you. And I
Yeah.
always have recommendations too. If you ever need them, just let me know.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what someone else in the network group, they commented on that post, and she said, I think there's really one main thing to consider when any recruiter company is a recruiter, someone that you trust and vibe with. Having that good connection makes all the difference, just like you said. Mutual trust, good communication. And that's another thing too, is like you're gonna want a recruiter that communicates great with you, but you need to communicate with them as well. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's not gonna be them calling you every second, um, and they can't read your mind. You can't, they might call you with, like, a weird destination, like, no offense to Idaho, but they might be like, "Hey, I have an assignment in Idaho," but you're like, "Man, I really wanted to go to Florida." They're not gonna know that you wanna go to Florida unless you tell them. And so they might just be and, be like, "Well, I don't really know," and they're gonna be keep trying to find you an assignment, but they little do they know the reason why you keep saying no is because you want a Florida assignment. I know it's a really broad, like, way to say it,
I
but
know, I think that's great. Like, they need to
communication is
know yeah,
important.
communication, telling them what your needs are, what your goals are, the things that you're willing to be flexible on and that sort of thing too. But, like,
Yes,
if you're wanting them to be responsive to you, then you also have to be responsive to them as well, and so, just remember that it's a two-way street.
definitely, yes, I agree. Um,
That was a
just
great question.
Yeah, no, I love that question. Because it is scary. It's a full commitment, and it's very scary to just, you know, the agency is going to be in a different state than you are. You don't just get to go down to the travel nurse store and apply to become a travel nurse. You have to, like, talk to them on the phone and make sure they're legitimate and make sure that nobody's going to, like, scam you out of things. So it's just, it's a huge commitment, and it is scary, and you don't want to sign up with the worst one and be like, "Gosh, why did I sign up with them? Why didn't anyone tell me?" So,
Yeah, and trust your gut. Your gut
yes.
is your guide. I'm telling you, you'll know right away. You'll get a bad feeling when you're like, nah, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, definitely. So then, someone in the comments just asked, "What is your advice to someone that just graduated and is waiting to travel?" And it kind of goes in for this one too. We had a question. They're getting ready to start their journey, but they're still in nursing school. What permanent positions should I start with in order to get me into travel nursing? So it's like, what's kind of like your next steps? Because for those of you out there, you really want to have at least 2 years of experience in your specialty. So what I think both of these things are what specialty or what, you get what I'm saying. So what
Yeah.
specialty will get you started in travel nursing quicker?
I think that that's a wonderful question. And that's also a question that you've really got to do some soul searching within yourself because
Mhm.
I want you to be happy. Like, I want you to pick a specialty that you love and that you're happy
Yeah.
doing regardless, first of all. I think that's the number one thing because I don't want you to go into a specialty that you're going to be miserable in if that's not really where you feel like you're meant to be. The great thing about nursing is we can change that, which is so great. If we're not happy in one place, we can switch specialties. But definitely, I think that you need to pick a specialty that you feel like you're going to be happy with. Some of the most sought out, I guess I should say, we see the most traveling positions in specialties such as med surge, ICU, ER, labor
Mhm.
and delivery,
Yeah.
those OR, and then in the children's world, which I'm NICU, so tons of NICU, PICU, pediatric, that sort of thing. You'll see a lot of those. And a lot of the assignments can also be like seasonal too. We may
Yeah.
see an influx in one specialty, obviously during the winter, during RSV, during COVID, and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. So don't base your sole decision just on that. But those are kind of the top specialties that we see. There are others as well, but those are the main ones.
Yeah.
And
No,
there's
and
jobs
then,
all over.
what's that?
Oh, I said, and there's and those specialties too, there's jobs all over the United States.
Yeah, definitely. And then, in the comments here too, we had someone, they said 3 years in critical care and still hard. Give yourself some grace to learn.
So
Definitely, because there are gonna be specialties that are a lot harder and you know, have the
yeah, and I think my rule of thumb too, when people are asking me if they're ready to travel, again, it's a personal kind of conviction conversation that you need to have with yourself. But
yeah,
at least 1 year experience, in my opinion, I think that's cutting it awfully short. But I can't say what you've been doing that last year. Maybe you've
yeah.
been getting the sickest of the sick kids, or everybody's a kid to me. Sorry, patience. But you really need to give yourself some time to feel comfortable and feel like you can take the sickest patient in your unit without asking for a lot of help, because when you go on these travel assignments, they may give you the sickest patient on their unit. They may pair it with both of the sickest patients in their unit, and you're going to be able to have to hit the ground running. They don't give you orientation. You need to be very strong in your clinical skills and have confidence.
Mhm. Yeah.
Give yourself time. I promise it's not going anywhere. You want to be successful. It's hard enough just in general, like moving to a new place and a new town and a new hospital. You want to be confident in your skills. And it's the best thing for our patients. We want to be able to provide the best care for them too.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, yeah, and that's kind of what someone was saying here too, because you're gonna hit the ground running, maybe 2 days of orientation, you know, what was she saying here? She's like, "Some hospitals treat the travelers not so nice either." So, like you were saying with the confidence, you need to have the confidence to take care of your patient and the confidence to brush off someone being like, "Oh, that's the traveler. I'm just gonna, like, ignore them. I'm just going to give them a hard time. I'm gonna give them the hardest patient." So, you need that confidence too in yourself, not only to take care of a patient, but to handle whatever is thrown at you.
That's so true, Rachel. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people, and that's another thing too, is, you're dealing with the emotions of other people while you're there. And I know a lot of you are here trying to get into travel nursing because you make a lot of money. Well, those staff nurses are starting to learn how much money that, and you probably, that's why, because you want to come on this side and make more money. And a lot of people get treated very differently, you know, because of how much money that you guys make. Sometimes it's not as big as what they assume you're making, but
Yeah, they don't know the whole picture always either. And when they talk about it, that's one of the first things I'm pointing out. I'm like, hey, like, I know this is the perception, but also like there's so many things as a travel nurse that we have to do that are differently. We're away from our family. We're constantly moving every 3 months. We're learning a new place, a new computer system. The list goes on and on. So that may be why the compensation is a little bit more, but it's because of some of the things that we're having to give up and that security blanket that maybe you
mhm,
get to keep. And I think if you treat that like you don't go in acting like you're entitled and bragging about money, though, overall, I've had
yeah,
really good success with the staff nurses treating me nicely for sure.
good. I'm glad. I'll
Yeah.
come get them if not. No.
Yes, that's right.
We had another question too. This one's like a biggie. What's like the biggest struggle or obstacle in starting? So research might be a little easy, but getting started, what do you think is like the most difficult?
I think like when you're just literally first thinking about it, I think it's so overwhelming with all of the information that is out there with social media.
Yeah,
You're hearing just so many different things. And so I think that it's why it's so important to use a trusted resource such as the Gypsy Nurse, where they line out the entire process. Same with Travel Nurse 101. I line out the entire process for you right, very easy in black and white where you can quickly go and learn what you need to learn very quickly and not have to sift through a bunch of information to get to the core details that you need to get started because it's overwhelming. There's so much information out there, and I don't want you to be misled. So, I
yeah,
definitely think kind of just learning where to go and who to use for your resources to get started is super important because it's a lot. It can be really overwhelming. And that's why we're here to help ease that for you and make it better and show you that you don't have to learn the hard way. And if you'll, take some guidance and stuff from us.
yeah, definitely. And someone was asking about resources, and that's exactly like there's tons of them. There's Brandy and I, the Gypsy Nurse and Travel Nurse 101. Those are great resources. But, you just look up, travel nurse, how to become a travel nurse, Google it. You're going to find tons and tons. Staffing agencies have those type of articles and all that stuff. So just, do your research. It's easy to find, tips and tricks. It's just getting started.
Yes. There's also some Facebook groups that I do really, really like. I have
Yeah,
one for Travel Nurse 101. There is a travel newbie group that's great. That's been around a really long time. And it's somebody who they moderate their page and make sure that people are acting appropriately and not sharing false information and spam and that sort of thing.
yeah,
To,
yep.
there's also even you can take it a step further. There's like NICU groups that are private that are just NICU nurses, PICU
Mhm.
nurses. And I really like those kind of groups. They don't include recruiters. And I like that because I think that it's nice for us nurses to be able to kind of talk amongst ourselves just from
Mhm.
a nursing standpoint and not have recruiters in the group. And I'm sorry if
Yeah.
that offends anybody, but as a traveler, like sometimes I need to go ask a question that I don't want to ask a recruiter. I want to ask one of my
Mhm.
fellow travel nurses. So if you guys need any help finding those Facebook groups too, let me know.
Yeah, definitely. And then we have our Facebook group, which is very, very large. We have over 170,000 members in there. So a lot of questions. I know there's like smaller groups that are like a little bit more intimate. I guess that's the word I'm thinking of, that you can kind of have, like those smaller or like those, I don't want to say small. I don't think it's a small. I don't like using that word, but, have like a little bit of a more intimate conversation in there. The ours is, you get in there, you congratulate everybody, you ask your question, you get tons and tons of,
I
you
know.
know,
I love that too.
questions.
And,
Yeah.
like, I'm so bad, like, I'll just lay in bed at night and look at all the questions and stuff on the Gypsy Nurse. Yeah, like, you can learn a lot, and also if you have a question about a facility, one of my first I tell people to go use the search function in the Gypsy Nurse and type in that facility
Yes.
name and you will see a ton of things about what people had to say about that hospital. Again, get the commonality theme.
Mhm.
Everybody's not gonna sometimes you only hear about the bad stuff. People don't like to talk about all the positive things. They kind of focus on the negative, but
Yeah.
see what people are saying about that facility, and that may help you decide if it's somewhere that you wanna go to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like 60% of our posts nowadays is like talking about their hospitals, which is fun and exciting. And then two, on the gypsynurse.com, we are building up our hospital reviews section. And so we just need more and more people to leave their reviews on the gypsynurse.com. So be sure if you have a hospital review, sign up on there and leave your reviews. That's going to help other people,
I love
not only get on the Facebook group, but also go on the website and check it out too. If they're anti-Facebook, I don't know. But sometimes
that.
it's nice to have multiple places. I look on like Google reviews and Yelp reviews, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I love it.
So we do have another, I think, important question too. Is you're thinking about starting travel nursing, and then you're like, when do I reach out to a recruiter? Because you don't want to waste their time or get them like calling you all the time and like, are you ready? Are you ready? So when would you say the best time to reach out to somebody to get kind of, I don't want to say
Sure.
started, but the ball rolling?
That's an awesome question. I get asked that a lot actually, and I think that my recommendation would be do as much of the research you can before you talk to that recruiter. They're obviously there as a supplemental source to help you get started. It's
Hmm.
what they do all day, but I want you to have a little bit of leadway and headway and at least knowing the basics before you talk to them.
Yeah.
Because you'll know what questions you really do need to ask them rather than like, here, explain the whole thing to me.
Yes.
And I would be close to the point where I'm like considering traveling in the next 3-ish months or so. That's
Yeah.
what I would recommend. Because normally um, it takes we'll start submitting you to jobs about 6 weeks out. That's kind of that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little sooner, sometimes a month. You can start being submitted to these jobs. So I think if you give yourself a little extra time where you can pick a recruiter and company that you feel like you mesh well with and go
Yeah.
ahead and get started like with the application, sending in your references, all of
Yeah.
your certifications, your health documents. That takes time and it's kind of overwhelming. And so if you just go ahead and do that and get that out of the way, and then you can really, really start focusing on, okay, like let's look for my assignment and enjoy the process a little bit more if you give yourself a little more time and you're not so much at a time constraint. I mean, don't get me wrong, they can do things really, really fast and get your profile built, I mean, within a couple days. But just for
Yeah.
you personally, as a new traveler, giving yourself a little time. But I would also make sure you set that expectation up with that recruiter and say, hey, like, I'm
Yeah.
not looking to travel for about 3 months. Because if they don't know that, they're gonna just be after you and blow you up because they're ready to get you to travel next month.
Yeah. Yep. And again, like we said, that communication is very, very important. So, letting them know when you're going to start.
Yeah, I
And then,
agree.
like, on that too, someone was asking as well, when do you start applying for license? Which, do you want to kind of explain why someone would need another license? I'm
Yeah,
not sure. It's not, some people
absolutely.
might not know.
That's and it's such an important question. It's something that you need to really start thinking about very early on in the process when you're thinking of becoming a traveling nurse, when you're thinking of some of the locations that you'd like to go to. Start thinking about the license then. If you have a compact state license, that really, really helps because you can go to so many states. And I love
Hmm.
that. I have a compact state and it's made my life so much easy. You don't have to have that. You will have to do a little bit more extra work, but that compact license is amazing. If you're thinking you want to go to places like California, specifically, I get a lot of nurses that want to go to Cali. Why would you not want to? But unfortunately, their license process does take a long time and it's not the easiest to navigate. So if you're
Hmm.
thinking you want to go to California, as soon as you start thinking about travel nursing, you need to go ahead and start applying for that license. The company may have some options to help you and kind of give you some guidance on getting that California license. But always think about it ahead of time, like Washington, that's another big one. Some of them take a little bit longer. So I would never want a licensure holdup to keep you from getting your dream assignment. If you're really wanting to go somewhere, make sure you're thinking about that ahead of time. And a lot of times, you cannot even be submitted to a job. The company cannot submit you to that hospital without your license in hand. A lot of times, there are some, I guess the word I'm looking for, exceptions to that. But for the
Mhm.
most part, they really want you to have that license in hand because it can be so time consuming. And we wouldn't want your contract to get canceled because you don't have your license.
Yeah, definitely. That would be so sad.
Yeah, and I've seen it happen. It almost happened to one of my best friends.
Oh,
And
geez.
I told her, like, early on, but I guess with everything else it got passed, but thank God she ended up getting it literally
Oh,
like
good.
the week before she started, and we were all like cringing. We're like, "Oh my God. Oh my gosh." And she already had housing lined up and everything. So
Oh,
all the stars aligned and she got it,
that's
but
good.
you never know.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, another fear, this was coming from our group as well. It says I'm almost ready to start travel nursing, but I'm so overwhelmed with all the agencies and I just don't want to be you know, they said hang on. I don't want to get miss out on pay. Sorry, they said something else and I don't want to, it's not a bad word, but it might be to somebody. I don't want to miss out on great pay or anything else for that matter. I'm a med surge with almost 2 years of experience. I don't want to live too far away. So, what would you say about someone? They're like, I want to get the best pay from the get go. I want the best. How can they? Should they even worry about that? Should they just get their first one under their belt, or should they really be like, I need to make that 10K a week?
So I think that this may offend people, but I think that you need to set yourself some realistic goals in mind. You need to decide, what is your why? Why are you wanting
Mm,
to do travel nursing? And that's one of the things I encourage my newbies very early on to even write it down. All right, I'm doing travel nursing just for the compensation. I'm doing travel nursing to be able to go to all these great places and have these
yeah,
experiences and meet new people. A lot of that depends on what your why is, but you're also going to have to be realistic. You're a new
yeah,
traveler, and it's hard
yeah.
sometimes to get that first assignment behind your belt. And as soon as you do, you're no longer a new traveler. So, with that second assignment and moving forward, you can be a little bit more picky with what you're asking are. But I feel like as a traveler in general, you have to be flexible and you have to have that flexible mindset. And if you don't, you're going to struggle being a travel nurse.
Yeah.
That is my opinion,
Yeah.
because there's so many variables that are going into it. You're going to have to give on something. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a brand new traveler, I want to make 10K a week, I will only do day shift, I will only go to these places 5 hours from my hometown, blah, blah, blah. You're not setting up realistic expectations and you're going to be disappointed, um, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Something may happen and you may luck out, but it's highly competitive, especially just certain specialties and stuff. And you being a first time traveler, you're gonna have to really make sure that you understand, you're realistic. And I know that sucks and that's not what you want to hear, but it's facts. And so it will get better and you'll be able to slowly be like, okay, like, this assignment, I'm going to do it for, it's somewhere I don't really want to go. I don't even know. Maybe I'm trying to pick like a horrible place. I don't know. Somewhere I don't wanna go, but it's paying
Yeah,
better. And then my next assignment, okay, like, I'm gonna go to Hawaii. Maybe it's not paying really what I want, but I'm going to Hawaii, and I'm
yeah,
getting to have this amazing experience. Like, there's so much more. Travel nursing offers you so much more than just monetary stuff. the
Mhm.
experiences, the friendships, the growth, you're building your resume. Look at all of it besides just the money. Don't get
Yeah.
so hung up on it. I know that's hard. We all want to make money. We all have goals, but you'll get there. I promise.
You know what I hear a lot about people is they will go to like an what do you call it? Like a destination that's like not appealing, not like your California's, Florida's, Hawaii's, and they love the city. Like they're like, this was like, I'm so glad I went. It was a small little town. I had a coffee shop that I went to every morning. They learned my name. They had
I
the best
love that.
breakfast. And
They
so
love
like,
it.
yeah. So
Yeah,
be
and
sure to
the
give
only
your
thing
city a chance
yeah,
because you don't know until you
I love
get there.
and that's happened to me that's happened to me, and you've heard me say this, but, like, the place I ended up loving the most out of all of my assignments was possibly the place I least expected, so be
Yeah,
open, like, you never know, like, you could just
yeah,
love it and end up being the greatest experience of your life.
definitely. And you might meet the best people, like you were saying, like friends. And so just give the city a chance. And that's kind of how I feel is like get that first one under your belt. Make sure that you have like a legit agency. You and your recruiter are transparent with each other and just get it done. And then as you grow, you're going to, and that's just natural in life. As you grow, you're going to learn what to ask for, what to do. Just take the leap.
Yeah, take the leap. That's the hardest part
Yeah.
is making the decision. And
Yeah.
if you're comparing, you're talking to other travelers. I heard a joke. They're like, every Tuesday, all the travelers compare their pay at this one facility. We were joking about it. And that's a very real thing. Like, we do talk about our pay with other travelers. Maybe it's not the most professional thing to do, but it does
Mhm.
happen. And so if you are hearing another traveler is making more money than you, that can be super upsetting. Like, I've heard it, but you have to take all of the factors again. You have
Yeah.
to compare apples to apples. Like, maybe they're only telling you like what you want to hear. They don't know what other benefits you're getting and all of those things. So when you do hear that, like, really go back to the source and make sure you're comparing
Yes.
apples to apples.
Yes, definitely. Well, there are some other things too, like, like we were saying, like just get it under your belt. And we did ask, like, our community between the both of us, we asked, what would you wish you would have known before you started traveling? And someone was saying, this one's kind of funny. They said all of the same questions over and over again. So people are going to ask you, where are you from? Are you married? Do you have kids? You make good money. So you're going to ask the same questions. Your life is going to be on repeat a lot. And, you know, just be aware. And if I were you, I'd just like when you're traveling, I would just come up with like funny little bits. That's kind of like what I'm a TikTok, like I love watching TikTok and they talk about little bits. So even like become like entertaining with it and make up like a life story, which I kind of recommend. You're gonna I know I'm trailing off, but when you're traveling, you don't want to give out too much information about yourself. At the hospital, kind of is okay, like with your like coworkers, but like with the patients, and when you go to your favorite coffee shop and they're like, where are you from? You're like, you know what, Antarctica. I'm here on here on a science trip
Funny.
to like come get like something to take back to Antarctica. I don't know, come up with something funny to make yourself laugh. You can call your friends and be like, hey, I just told all these people that I'm the head surgeon at this hospital and they're asking if I can do brain surgery for them next week.
And it keeps you safer too. But
Yes, and that's what I was getting to the point too, is, like, don't give them your real life details, like, "Hi, I'm a travel nurse, I'm staying at this hotel for the rest of my time being here."
I know, I agree. And you're gonna be popular. Like, you're gonna be popular. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
That TikTok or that
yeah,
song that's coming out. But it's so true. Like, people, they're gonna want to know about you, and you're new and it's exciting. And they're getting to see like a new life through you, and you're getting to do all these fun things that maybe they've never even experienced in their hometown. So I get a
yeah.
lot of questions and a lot of people like, hey, like, I want to hang out with you. You do all these fun things. Like, take me with you. I've been living here my whole life and haven't even done. half of the things that you're doing. So
Yeah.
you're going to be popular. So just beware.
Definitely. And kind of like reversal too, like ask them where are fun things to go. And maybe even be like, "Oh, well, you want to go with me?" Like cuz you're going to want to make friends as well. Like even though some of them might not be nice, you're going to still meet a lot of nice people and you're going to still want to have some friends to rely on. So,
I agree. That's
just
so
ask
great.
them, ask them. And then we do have some comments rolling in. Wendy said, "I love staying somewhere for 13 weeks and being able to really immerse yourself into the community. I met so many great people on each assignment and now I have friends all over the country." Yes.
So
That is the coolest part of travel nursing, I think.
best part, I know. And like you get to stay in touch with those people and we still network back and forth. I'm like, "Hey, I want to come back to Colorado Springs. Do you have an
Yeah.
opening? Do you know of housing?" Like the travel nurse industry, it seems big, but it's kind of a close-knit group
Yeah.
too. And we all kind of like look out for each other. So I love that, Wendy.
Definitely, I do too. Yeah, and I think it's kind of funny too, because some people, like if you have an iPhone, like you can share your location too. And I know I had your location for a while. I think it dropped off, or you just didn't want me to come fly out to Texas one day and just like randomly show up on your doorstep, like I'm
Yeah.
here.
Hi.
But
That's
it's fun.
funny.
It's kind of fun when you get close to other people and like share your location, and you can kind of like look at it and be like, oh, they're in the mountains today. Oh, and it's kind of like a creepy but fun thing to do
Well,
on
it
the
also could be
iPhone.
a safety thing too,
Yes,
you
that
know?
too.
And so I think that that's important too, if you have some friends there to share your location in case something goes south, God forbid, but
Definitely. Well, we have Steven who said, "I am grateful to travel because in 2005 I was able to move from St. Louis to Los Angeles and I loved it so much. I took a permanent position and stayed till last year. I'm glad to be back in St. Louis, but now I've always had those memories." Yeah.
oh, I
Yeah.
love that. See? And you never would have got known. You got to try on that hospital and make sure that it was a good fit for you before you signed on permanently and felt kind of stuck. So that
Yeah.
happens a lot.
Yeah. And then someone else said, Jill says, it is nice once you get a lot of assignments under your belt. The managers and directors will text you to come back. Great connections in travel nursing. Yes, that
So
too.
true. All the time. Or they'll even text me and be like, "Hey, if you can't come, do you know somebody? Do you have a good recommendation?" Which I think that's so nice. I feel honored when they do that, but definitely does
Definitely.
happen.
And I think too, something else we can kind of talk about since they're a newer nurse. You can only stay so long. What is it? How many weeks can they stay at a hospital before they need to move on to the next one? Because you'll find a hospital and you'll fall in love with it, but you need to move on eventually.
Yeah, that gets a little bit tricky, and you may just double check with your company as well as kind of it's a tax implication. And so I'm very hesitant when we
Yes.
talk about tax stuff. Travel
No.
tax will
Yes.
be your go to if you have any questions. My understanding is it is 11 months, a little bit less than 1 year. If you
Hmm.
stay more than a year, you're residents of hospital in that state. So make
Yeah.
sure you really understand that. And I know that at that point, you either have to make the decision to go on as permanent staff or you have to leave for a specific extended period of time that the IRS regulates before you can come back to be able to be eligible for those tax-free stipends.
Definitely. And as Brandy was saying, we are not tax professionals. Find one if you I think just no matter what. As a travel nurse, you're going to
Yeah,
have to deal with things called stipends. You're going to have to live so many miles away from your hometown. You're going to have to deal with all these like not to scare you, and it's not scary. Some people do it on their own, but there's a lot of complicated things that go in there, and that's what somebody was saying was like, I wish I would have found a tax professional right away.
absolutely.
And from the get-go, like Brandy said, there's travel tax, which I believe they will be at TravCon,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
can't
and
confirm.
please
But
do not ask tax advice in I love I love the Gypsy Nurses page, but do not tax advice there. If you do, I see it every day and I cringe literally. I'm like, please go speak to an accountant, to a
Yeah.
tax person. Something.
Uh-oh, she's breaking up a little bit, but she's saying what she's saying once she unfreezes. You definitely want to reach out to a tax professional. A lot of people do ask like those questions, and a lot of people are just putting the referral to that one. Oh, Brandy, I hope you unfreeze soon. But yeah, so make sure you reach out to a tax professional. Well, it looks like Brandy's not unfreezing. But yeah, if you have any other questions, be sure to put them in the comments. If you have any questions after, if you're watching this later, or if another question pops up, feel free to message the Gypsy Nurse fan page or email us. You can find us at marketing@thegypsynurse.com. Reach out to Brandy on Travel Nurse 101. She'll be so happy to help you because she is just amazing. And I'm so glad that I've gotten to get to know her over, I think this past year. So she's just a really great friend. And we just did get a question from Steven. Did you mention a travel convention? Yes. So there is a travel nurse conference September 17th, and that one lasts a few days. Don't kill me, everybody. But yeah, it's the 17th through the 20th. I had to double check. 2023 at the Paris in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh, here she is. We were just talking about TravCon. So I kind of wrapped it up for you with your
Oh,
tax
yeah.
question
Oh,
or with the
sorry.
tax issue.
They're doing construction right outside. And I'm like, I wonder if they did something to disrupt my internet. So I'm so
No.
sorry. Of course,
all
the
right.
most important time. But I love that we're talking about TravCon.
Yes. So Stephen asked, did you mention a travel convention? And yes, it's a huge, huge deal. So you definitely need to come, Stephen. Even if you're not traveling, there's still so many great, great, great sessions to learn. Brandy did one last year, and oh my gosh, the people that came out of the session, they came to our booth at the Gypsy Nurse, and they're like, oh my gosh, we just went to this session about flight nursing and it was so amazing. And I was like, was it Brandy's? And they're like, yes. And I was like, oh my gosh, like she is the best. But like people were gushing, I guess, I don't want to say gushing, I guess, but they were just so excited about flight nursing, which was super, super fun.
Yeah, it
But
was so great. Literally, TravCon was the highlight of my year last year.
mine
Like,
too.
it
Yeah.
was so much fun and just so many fun, like-minded people all wanting to be there together and do fun things. There was a constant stream of fun things to do.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Unlimited.
my
I was like, how do I fit all this fun in 3 days? And you can't. You just
Yeah,
have to kind of pick and choose what, and you can go there alone. Don't be afraid
don't
because
be afraid.
someone's just gonna scoop you up and be like, you're my baby, and I'm gonna make you into a travel nurse one day or travel healthcare worker. Because Allied and other travelers are more than welcome to come. But
You're gonna leave with friends for a lifetime. And
yes,
even some of the people I met, like we were like trying to plan our next vacation all together after TravCon. We're like, we can't even wait for TravCon. Like we want to all go on a vacation again. We just loved each other and it was so much fun, so much good information.
yes,
And yeah, I just can't speak enough volume about it. Like I'm so excited. I wish you would hurry up and get here.
I
But I will
know.
have a speaking session again. I
Yay.
will have a booth in the market hall for Travel Nurse 101 with some cool swag and stuff. So I can't wait to meet all of you guys there.
Yeah,
Don't miss out.
Steven
You won't regret it.
and everybody else, it is amazing. Not only like you get great education and get to meet all the kind of people, but the booth setup. I had not been for a couple of years, and this year I went, and there were like digital boards like the length of like a whole like maybe 6-foot wall, and just like the way these agencies go above and beyond. There was like contests, like there was people wearing like all kinds of like t-shirts just so that way they can win. But it was like the craziest thing and the most fun thing. Because I think, what did you have for your booth that everybody was like lining up and loved it?
So I had I was giving away like customized journals that were really,
Yeah,
really cool that I handpicked. I mean, those were really, really cool. I had some color changing cups because there's some drinking that goes on. We're in Las Vegas, right? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And some pins. And then the coolest thing was an engraving station. So
yeah.
you were able to pick a coffee cup and right there get your name engraved in the Travel Nurse 101 cup. And it was a hit. I ran out. I mean, I had 10 boxes of these little cups. They
Yeah.
just flew. I wish I had had more, but so many fun giveaways. And these companies wine and dine you and have events, and it's just so fun.
Oh, yeah,
And a
definitely.
pool
So,
party. I had a pool party. Did you tell we didn't tell about that
oh, yeah.
either.
Yeah, Brandy
So
had a fun little pool party. It was such a blast.
it
And
was
she had these
fun.
little beach balls. It was so funny because she had these beach balls, and then you look out to the pool, and like everybody that's like not even travelers, we're just like bouncing these beach balls in the pool. So she was definitely getting some like branding out there, even if they weren't
It
travelers.
was so fun. I know. And it was a little if you get there a day or 2 before TravCon starts, there's some of these pre-parties like that
Yeah.
pool party and some other things where you kinda get to get started early, and if you can be there, I promise, like, you won't regret it. It's so much fun. It's a
Yeah.
blast.
So, Stephen, to wrap it up and everybody else, there's education, there's free gifts. So, t shirts, swag, everything that like you could imagine, like little mini speakers. There's like collaboration meetings, or not meetings, but like where you get to meet other travelers, ask them questions, hang out with them. There's an epic after party that like last
The
year it felt like I was only there an hour. And I was like,
coulda went
"Why
on
is this
all night
ending?
long.
Why is this ending?" So that's a lot of fun. You don't have to go to everything either if you just wanna go for education, if you just wanna go, some people just come to hang out and do a little bit of education, but we definitely highly, highly recommend always learning and always educating yourself.
Yeah.
But,
So
we do
And there'll
have
be a newbie boot camp too. So that there'll be some more information on that for anybody that's truly interested in coming in as a newbie. It
yeah.
normally starts a day before and it's dedicated just to you guys, just the newbie, so we can help give you a little bit more extra attention that you need.
Yeah, because you have a day, basically a whole day dedicated to just trying to get started in travel nursing. So that's how much we love you guys. Like, come on over. Come to the travel nurse side. We do have a question. If I'm currently not a traveler, but simply interested in determining the next steps, is TravCon for me? Yes. So we kind of
Yes.
did that question backwards. So come to the newbie boot camp. You're gonna love it, and there's gonna be other people that you can meet that want to start travel nursing as well, and then you can become friends with them and then start your journey together, maybe travel together, because people do travel in pairs, and sometimes it's a little hard to get an assignment. But if you work with your recruiter and say, I have this friend that I want to do this assignment with, they'll do their best to get you both there.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe that's just like the last little like step that you need. Once you go, it may like just completely give you so much confidence. You're gonna
Yeah,
leave there being like, oh my God, like I want to travel right now. Like I love this. I want to come to TravCon every year. We cannot
definitely.
hype it up enough.
I
That's how
know. I'm like, I seem very calm, but like my level of love for TravCon, I'm just like exploding. But
I agree.
it's in here. But I'm so excited. And then another question too, can I earn CEs at TravCon? Yes. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yes.
definitely. So
I-
there's
The
definitely
basis is education and then all the fun stuff along with it.
yes. So think about that. You're there to learn, but you're also there so you learn and you won't be bored like in regular school.
Yeah, and you can pick and choose what you wanna learn about, things that you're
Yeah,
excited to learn about and not feel like you're having to just sit there through some, like, boring session that you don't really care about, so
and
lots of good
exactly.
info.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that is our time. That was so much fun,
It
Brandy.
was.
Brandy's going to be coming on a little bit more often. We're going to be doing it a little bit differently like this. Normally we're a little bit more formal, but we wanted to
This is
kind of,
better.
yeah, have a little relaxed session together since we're buds.
That's
But yeah,
right.
so if you have any questions about becoming a travel nurse, if I know an hour does not cover it whatsoever. So please reach out to Brandy. She can be your mentor. Reach out to the Gypsy Nurse. We can put you in contact with her as well. We have tons of great resources. So does she. Um, yeah. So just,
Absolutely. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Trav Nurse 101. If nothing else, go look at my fun photos of all my
yeah,
adventures. They won't disappoint, and go live life vicariously through me. And then travelnurse101.com is my website. You can go there. You can schedule a 1-to-1 strategy call with me. It's complimentary. We can chat one on one and you talk to me about your unique situation, where you're at, how I can help you. And I just want to be here and be a resource for you and set you up for success to be a travel nurse.
definitely. And she's a great resource. I know I keep saying it, but
You are
she's
too.
great and she
That's the dream.
won't she won't make you feel silly for any like random questions. I know I ask her random questions all the time and I'm like,
No,
but she never makes you feel silly. So well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone for your
thank you.
questions. We hope we see you next time in the comment section. We definitely hope to see you at TravCon. Stay up to date by going to travcon.org. When you sign up for the Gypsy Nurse, we'll be talking about it constantly as well because we love it. We might even be giving out some discount. I can't promise anything, but we might. So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.